with relationships. What's the history of divorce in the family? What's the history of relationships in the family? Are we really great at marriage? Are we really poor at marriage? Why are we poor at marriage? Why are we great at relationships? What happened between Ukoko and Umkhulu? What happened between Umano Baba? Those are the kind of, because your history and what happened before you contributes to umsamo wako. Because remember what I said, umsamo wako, uma wako, no baba wako. And you are not, umsamo wako is essentially a culmination of the consequences of decisions taken by those that have come before you. So I want to make sure there's no questions. Sorry, I also make sure there's no questions. Okay, I don't see any questions. Okay, we're going to keep going. Now, the biggest mistake, or rather, let me call it a fallacy rather, when it comes to the purpose of relationships and marriage, is that marriage is for ukwandisa and increase the number of children in the family, and that relationships are supposed to end up in marriage. No. The purpose of a relationship is not for marriage, and the purpose of a marriage is not for children. The purpose of a relationship, okay, is to present you with the opportunity, okay, to find someone or to find your spiritual identity and your spiritual counterpart. In addition to that, it is also an opportunity for you to intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally grow. That is what a relationship, that is the most important thing about when it comes to a relationship. Are these three things being fulfilled? Are you spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically growing? Okay? Because when you find somebody and you are in a relationship, that you share by being intimate, right? You are going to share spiritual energies, and you are going to share spiritual wisdom and knowledge. Okay? And in doing that, you grow. The experiences grow you, both good and bad. Marriage, and the purpose of marriage, guys, marriage is there to do two things. Marriage is to introduce spiritual diversity emdenini, right? And two, it is also, okay, to introduce an element of spiritual knowledge and wisdom which was not there in the family. Let me explain. If you remember my last talk when I spoke about isinguni nesindawo, kunemimoya that is specific to izalukwazi that can only be brought into umdeni by marriage. And by bringing that in, lokhu kusho ukuthi emdenini there is now that spiritual gift of isindawo, which was not there before. So by bringing that objective, neutral third eye into the family, there are going to be dynamics and problems that are going to arise, which everyone in the family is going to be blind to because they are all already in the system. However, this person that has joined the family is not part of the system. They have not been blinded by any kind of secrecy or any kind of indoctrination, okay? And therefore, the family can now see new danger. They can now acquire new knowledge and new wisdom. Now, the twins and Imimoya lecture, I spoke to you about spiritual diversity and the importance of spiritual diversity. By bringing in a cradle of humankind, i.e. umama, right? You are bringing in someone who has a capacity for children not to come from her, but to go through her. And by going through her, she is spiritually growing and nurturing those that go through her. But if you don't have someone marrying into the family is being spiritually limited because you need a cradle of humankind for someone in the family's children in the family not to come from, but to go through. But anyway, so now that is why ilobolo is so important. Because it's not about her ability to have children. It's not about the ability for children to come from her, but the ability for children to go through her. So now let's talk about the spiritual boundaries in relationships, because I've now spoken about imimoya and school in this indawe. Can my ancestors block my relationships? Do they want me to be single? At times, they can. Because if you have a history of rituals that your parents have not been denied, number one, this is your parents' fault now. In the event you have not done imbeleko nomamulo, right? And children have not been appreciated by imbos, okay? Then you cannot struggle, you'll struggle to connect nelenye tongo. Because remember, a relationship, in order for a relationship to flourish, right? Itongo lam needs to connect netongo lako. How is Itongo Lam going to connect with Itongo Lako if I have the wrong surname and Itongo Lam lacks identity and it does not know where it belongs? How is Itongo Lam going to connect Netongo Lako if mina ngokwemi moya I'm still a child because I have not done umhlonyana. I have not done umemulo. So when I spoke about the importance of African rituals for spiritual maturation and identification, okay, the manifestation of the lack of those rituals can happen when it comes to establishing relationships. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't have imbeleko, you're not going to be able to connect with someone who's already got imbeleko and who knows who they are. Because remember what I said about Law 11, protection or putting yourself in a conducive environment for your growth and liberation. Mina, I've done imbeleko, I know my surname, okay, by me being with you or dating you, okay, you are limiting my spiritual liberation and growth. So some of you are trying to establish connections and relationships with people who spiritually you're not on their level because you lack isintu nesiko and rituals that have not been done for you. Okay. So now, then number two, the nature of imimoya. This is within yourself now. Isinguni nesindawe, right, are perfect for one another. Opposites attract. That's good. However, isinguni and isinguni will clash. So if you heard now when I was talking about on the morning show, isinguni will clash because like runs with like. Think about in science when you have two like poles, positive and positive, they don't come together very easily, right? They'll repel. But this doesn't necessarily mean that your soulmate isn't going to be isinguni as well, if when isinguni. Sometimes what happens is that isinguni, your soulmate rather, can have imimoya efana neyakho, and you guys are meant to be together. It's just uti this clash or this similar nature in terms of imimoya just needs to go to igezwe, uhlanzeke, right? Hence, abadala always try to reach spiritual diversity so that you avoid that clash. Okay. But if it does happen, uvele ugeze njengembuzi and then konje lo umama uyisindawo, ubaba uyisindawo, yikho nje, especially when it comes close to marriage time, you begin to clash. Okay. But again, guys, this does not mean you must give up and part ways just because you found out that you and your partner are both isinguni or both isindawe. No, at least you know, and now you know what to do because I told you what to do. I've spoken about the identity crisis, guys. If you do not have the right surname, unfortunately, it's not going to work. I see someone here has dropped a question in the Q&A box. Please, can you use the chat box option? To whomever dropped the question, please, can you use the chat box option? Just copy paste it into the chat box option, please. I'm not going to be looking at the Q&A part, please. Thank you. I've spoken about that, guys. More particularly when it comes to men, right? Now I'm speaking to males here, okay? Women's families are the ones that choose men's families, right? Women's families, namadlozi abantu besimame, are the ones that choose the men's families for them to go into. In other words, if I have 5 sons and all of them are not getting married, I need to worry as ubaba. Because that means that in the whole of South Africa, not a single parent, not a single family or idlozi, right, sees their daughter, okay, or sees my home as a home where their daughter will be spiritually content, nurtured, and grow. But if I have 5 daughters and none of them are married, honestly, I don't think you should worry too much. It just means don't worry. But if I have 5 sons, I would worry. Worry if you have 5 sons or you have 3 or 4 boys that are not getting married, because that means that systemically in the family there was a problem. It means that abadala or abadlozi abanye abantu, they see your family potentially as a place where spiritually their child is going to die. Okay, that's why I say we have it confused in society by thinking that it is the man that the woman is being blessed with a husband. No, the woman is being blessed with. No, it is the man's family that is being blessed with a wife, because that means amadlozi saying what they trust this family with their most prized gem, ingane yabo. So men, if you have an identity crisis, chances are you're going to struggle to find a wife. Because amadlozi, especially a wife where spiritually everything is set for her and spiritually it's sound for her. Because amadlozi do not want her to leave isibongo lesi that's perfect. Ayofakela kule nkinga lesi. Law 11. Itongo will choose to always reside in an environment which is conducive to its growth. And it will reject anything and everything of that environment which is not conducive. That includes the environment itself. Then the last two, okay, then this one here, number 4, when it speaks about, I'm gonna answer the question now after this slide. You carry impande of hate in your heart, of hate or love, right? If you follow umsamo, we always tell you ukuthi impande can be anything, guys. Impande can be breast milk, impande can be cooking oil, impande can be a root or intelezi or iskungwa. Impande can be anything. Impande can also be emotions and feelings. So if wena, right, you carry jealousy, hate, resentment, if you have a dark heart, you never wish anybody well, you're quick to jealousy, right? Then what you are doing is you're presenting these emotions to itongo lakho. And then itongo lakho was like, but how am I supposed to make love out of this concoction of hate, jealousy, and animosity? So now you want itongo lakho to embody the love that you desire, so that when it makes a connection, nelinye tongo, it is the right love. So some of you are attracting exactly what you are. You have hate and resentment and ububi, isinyama here in your heart. Itongo lakho is like, if you're going to give me this, I can only work with this. Therefore, you are riddling itongo with this hate, resentment, and bitterness. Hence, the person you are meeting, hence the men and the woman you are connecting with, if you want to know who you are, you need to look at the kind of person, the people that you have been with previously in your life. Hence, we say, a better you attracts a better next. If you present itongo with love, with happiness, with joy, with bliss, with peace, then itongo can say, thank you, ngiyabonga. I'm now going to work with this. I'm going to convert it into umuti. Remember what I said? Impande, imiti, becomes umuti by conversion, by itongo converting it. And then I'm going to make sure that the person I connect with embodies this kind of love. So before you go and say, no, ask yourself, what is in here? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys now today. I know many people, guys, who spiritually there is nothing wrong with them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But because they refuse to do the work of working on themselves and ridding themselves of hate and jealousy, and they are choosing, right, to hate. Guys, hate is a choice. Hate is a choice. They are choosing to hate. They cannot find love. Guys, you can come to us 101 times, but if you're going to continue to pump itongo lako with hate and resentments and jealousy, I don't care who you are. There's no healer in the world that will be able to find you love. And then finally, uklisa with intention of blocking, witchcraft. This does happen, guys. This is definitely possible. Uguti utandana nomuntu, and lomuntu, wants you to be theirs and theirs alone, and you don't want you to work with anyone else. Bangakbopa, in terms of bopa to them, so that love does not work with anyone else. So what happens spiritually in this case? In this case, what happens is itongo lako, okay, is almost, how do I put it? They're camouflaged, yes. So it's like putting an invisibility cloak on top of itongo lako, right? And itongo lako can no longer be seen, recognized, or connect with ilinye tongo lomunye umuntu, and therefore you cannot create a relationship with that other person. And the relationship you establish with other people is going to be purely physical and intellectual. That is it. That does happen. It is very rare, hence I chose to put it at the end, but it does happen. Okay, there was a question here. Sorry, I just want to answer the question before we proceed. Ooh, wow, inside led. Here we go. Question. Right. What about interracial matches and pairing? Interracial matches and pairing can also be spiritually sound, and the person that you are meant to end up with can also be outside of your race, outside of your ethnic group, even outside of your religion. Let me explain. Because everybody comes from Africa, right? We are the cradle of humankind. We came from Africa, we went abroad, and we spread out. And if you do your history and your lineage, you might find that you have some family in the Netherlands, or you find some family in Americas, Europe, Australia, and whatever the case may be. Okay? You can create spiritual connections with people that are outside of your race. Okay? If Idlos Lako or Itongo Lako feels that this particular person is good for you, then that spiritual connection can be made. Remember I think it's law 8 that says, okay, social constructions do not apply to Abadala Namatongo. Race is a social construction. Abadala don't see race. Abadala, they see Itongo. Itongo lako libona ilinyi Itongo. Okay? Yes, there is a vessel, but that social construct of that social construct of race does not apply to Abadala. Hence, some people are successful and they're happily married, they've been together for years, even decades, even though they are outside of each other's racial groups. Starting even in the apartheid era, when the socioeconomic context did not allow for that kind of love to blossom. So it does work, and you do need to all keep an open mind, because you don't know if Itongo lako wants you to be no mlungu, no manendia, no mane kalat. I hope that answers your question. If not, just drop another question in the comment section. Now we've answered that. Those are the kind of spiritual barriers that can get in the way of you establishing a nice, healthy relationship with somebody. Now we're going to talk about dreams. I think this is definitely the most common theme when it comes to the DMs that I get on Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot. Dreaming about your ex-lover, dreaming about your current partner, and dreaming about someone else's partner. So we're going to tackle those in those 3 parts. We're going to talk about our exes. And I want to talk about exes because this is clearly the most common dream, right? Seeing your ex does not necessarily mean that you can go back, or you should go back. Seeing your ex, as I said in the morning show, can be indicative, right, of what was left undone, or what was supposed to be done, or what can be done. Okay? So when you're dreaming about your ex, you need to systematically work through a couple of questions, more particularly reflecting on the relationship as a whole, and ask yourself, what was there in that relationship that I never got the answers to, that I was most concerned about, and what did I see but choose to ignore? And finally, which is the most important question to ask yourself, is, have I really actually healed and grown from this relationship? Because if you're still telling yourself that your relationship failed because it was 100% your ex-partner's fault, then you have not grown. Growth looks like this. Growth is me saying, yes, you dated yes, Usman Bani did A, B, C, D. Guys, even if your partner cheated, don't look at that. What did I do to contribute to the fate of this relationship? Once you're doing that, you hold yourself accountable to that behavior, okay? And you say, I'm never going to do that ever again. You know what that is? Growth. That's what growth looks like. Holding yourself accountable to the decisions that you made in that previous relationship. Holding yourself accountable to the implications and the consequences of the decisions that you took in that previous relationship, right? And then ask yourself, have I really healed? Have I forgiven this person? Because remember what I said about that last one, number 4. If you haven't forgiven this person, then clearly you're still carrying an element of hate, or you're still carrying an element of anger in your heart. How then can you move on if you haven't forgiven this person? Show you that they show you your ex. They're telling you, listen, reflect on this relationship. There is something that you have not addressed in this relationship or in this part of your life. And what you will find in that reflection, okay, is revelation. And revelation, right, leads to a bright and prosperous future. So do you see now why you need to think very critically when it comes to the dreaming of your ex-lover? Are there questions that you have? Did you think your ex-lover cheated on you? Maybe she did, maybe he did, but you weren't. Like, you know what, you're not really ready for that answer. Or maybe they didn't cheat on you, okay, and you are so convinced that they did cheat on you. And Abatala come to say, listen, she actually didn't cheat on you. He actually didn't cheat on you. You were being paranoid. Now, then you sit back and say, okay, fine, I clearly have an issue of paranoia to address. Okay. Then, dreaming of someone else's partner. Guys, when it comes to dreaming of someone else's partner, you really need to ask yourself, what do I want in a partner? Because sometimes they're showing you not what you should go and take, but what you should strive towards or work towards. Okay? They are showing you that particular woman or that particular man, okay, because they are showing you the kind of characteristics in a partner that you should look for. Or they are showing you what you should not look for. Because sometimes you actually may have feelings for that particular woman, right? Or that particular man. And you're like, oh no, it's great and everything. You know, then bamba bamba in the dream. That means we're meant to be, we're soulmates, we're soul ties. Yes, soulmates and soul ties can be indicated through the dream, but I want to speak about that at the end. But what I'm saying is, if you are seeing that particular person in your dream and it's nice and everything, ask yourself, right, do I love them or the idea of them? Because sometimes abadala know ukuthi yewen, you're in love with the idea of this person, okay? But this person is not what you should be ending up with. There is other things to this. There's more to this person that meets the eye, okay? And in that moment, they are not telling you to judge said person. They are saying that when it comes to finding a partner, okay, you need to consider the reality of the person versus the idea of the person. And they are telling you that perhaps you need to drop your ideals and start looking for something real. So don't go around saying, I dreamt of that person, therefore they are my soulmate, I should go. No, really unpack the dream and interrogate the dream. Really, and then look critically. When you next see that person, really analyze their behavior and look at them, and you'll begin to see them in a different light. You'll begin to see, actually, whoa, this person actually, is this how she speaks to people? This is what she thinks of somebody. Oh my gosh, I thought she was an ideal wife or an ideal husband. I'm going to answer your question now, guys, after the slide. I can see them at the top there. And then dreams of your current partner. You know, I think these are my favorite kind of dreams because they're immediate and they let you know what you're most concerned about. These dreams, typically you won't have to pasha for them, but they answer you for the things that you're most anxious about. And they also